one of the candidates for
Aspirant at this
2019, I believe you should be
Yeah, we get
a
party.
candidate.
Yes.
I believe that. I don't want to see any. I'm sorry. I'm glad maybe for the fact that we're still on our platforms. I don't want to see any old person. We are done.
Everybody's done.
Do you understand? Some of the leaders we have today were leaders when Macron was born.
There were leaders at 30 in Nigeria.
When Macron
Let me tell you,
was a child.
I studied Ado social studies in 1979,
Thank you.
primary school.
He's
I'm
still a
telling you,
minister.
he's still a minister of agriculture.
Buhari
I
was
studied
president at
Jerry
34.
Ghana. I studied
Mamsa.
Mamsa. I want to remember who was the one that they said was Lord Lugard's PA. Lord Lugard that amalgamated Nigeria.
His PA.
Yes, we studied him. He was still in power as of 10 years ago. So we're done with that.
Everybody I studied in school that they said was a hero, I had to fight them when I got to the university. People they taught us in history. You know the joke in Nigeria now that the reason they don't teach us history is because our ancestors are still around.
Still around.
No, but yeah, but
It is true.
it is. How would you, if you taught history and taught the genocides of Buhari, how does he win an election? If you taught history and remind children about Saraki and his father's history in
And their
Kwara
bank.
State and the GTB issue, they would never win an election.
Yeah.
The civic studies thing is hogwash. The exam has no basis in any exam we do in the country. It makes no sense.
In any country for that matter.
They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
Anyway,
They know what they're doing.
we're glad we've come to how far we've come to. Earlier on, we're speaking about religious leaders who sold out on their faith, on their congregations, and on their country. During the Yaradua saga, a lot of us were alive then. At least none of us is a baby. We all lived through it.
Yeah.
I remember a tweet that got me laughing. One of my very good friends, Wale, tweeted something the day they announced the late Yaradua had passed on. He said, Nigeria's dead president finally dies. And I thought that was a
Actually,
wow moment.
Yaradua had been dead, brain dead, 5 months before he was declared dead.
Yep.
Now, do you have conclusive evidence to show this?
Oh, absolutely. I had, at that time, I was reporting regularly on the state of health, and a doctor who was privy to the treatment, they had come to Boston to recruit a doctor to go to Saudi Arabia. They were looking for doctors all over the world who could perform miracles to bring him back to life. And this guy said he went there, and told them that this guy is dead. Yaradua had cancer.
Pericarditis.
And he had other issues. And he was dead. He had been brain dead 5 months effectively before they declared him dead. What they were doing was that when they took the budget there, he wasn't the one who signed it. When he did the interview on BBC, it wasn't the one. In fact, BBC has completely now removed that interview from their system because they cannot defend it. The lady who did it, Jamila Tangaza, was eventually rewarded with a job in Abuja, and she was well rewarded. She worked out there, and later she was declared wanted because she was involved in a lot of fraud. I think she ran away from the country.
Wow.
That was how they were
This is the
working
first
the
time.
system in those days. And we were revealing as this we everything. We were, in fact, the day he died, Shegun Adeniyi was asked to come and see him. And while he was waiting in the living room in Asoro, I called him. I said, Shegun, where are you? That was the spokesperson to the president. He said he's waiting to see his Oga. I said, which Oga? He said, President Yaradua. I said, the man has died. He said, I know you do investigative journalism, but this one you have carried it too far. Because I'm just waiting to go upstairs and see him. I said, he's dead. He called me back 5 minutes later. I said, it looks like what you said is true. He wrote it even in his book. He said, because I've just been driven away from the living room and things seem to have changed.
All right, 96.9 Cool FM. The interview still continues. Big shout out to Drake in My Feelings, 27 down, 5 o'clock, and we still have presidential aspirant Omoyele Sowore in the building, and he has been telling us all sorts of explosive stuff that are available on our social media networks, facebook.com/Cool FM Nigeria, and of course on YouTube, youtube.com/Daddy Freeze Teaches. Now, we're talking about the late President Yaradua on the platforms, and how you broke the news, and how Sahara TV went to make sure there was a balanced, balance in the dissemination of information in Nigeria. Have you heard that you reminded people of Al Jazeera when they first started? You know, then the Western media will say 10 people died. Al Jazeera will come and say 100 people died and show you their bodies.
Yes, that's right.
So, yes, you're good at bringing information to the people. But I've been faced with this question too, because I'm a Bible teacher.
Yes.
I know the Bible. I can show what everybody else is doing is wrong. But a lot of people say, Daddy Freeze, that doesn't make it look like you can actually do it right.
Yeah.
So the question is on you now. The onus is upon you to tell us what guarantee you have that you can actually not just show what is wrong, but do what is right.
Yeah. I was telling you that if my experience and pedigree could work what you call insurance, I will be the person with the best insurance for good behavior and ability to deliver.
Let me ask you a question. Have they ever offered you a handsome bribe?
Of course.
I mean handsome, those kind of bribes that you just think about it like, look, I've fought this activism long enough.
Yeah.
Should I just collect this money and retire?
No, so I'll give you an example. When Ribado was being bribed by James Ibori, I was also contacted to come to Ghana to come and pick up my own bribe.
Nice.
Yes, and they told me that, look, Ribado had accepted his own. Who are you? Come and get your own and just move on. Stop reporting about this James Ibori every day. James Ibori.
Yeah.
And I told them that, nobody can buy my conscience. At that time, they had bought all the judges. They bought the media. They bought everybody, But I refused. And it was that consistency that led Ibori to run out of the country to Dubai, where the UK government picked him up. He spent 13 years. He was sentenced to 13 years in jail afterwards.
Now, of course, because this is a radio station and we're balanced, of course, Mr. Ibori should feel free to come here to give us his side of the story if he so feels. And
Ibori is now it's likely to become an APC chieftain very soon.
So, of course, our doors are open to everyone. We try to make this as balanced as possible. Talking about balance, I read something about you recently. There was a certain GO who I don't want to mention who sued you to court for 10 billion naira.
Yes.
And this particular GO, guys, you guys should not laugh, because what's really
Sorry, I didn't hear this.
You didn't hear this?
No.
What's really funny to me is this particular GO is notorious for telling his congregation to pray die by fire prayers for their enemies.
Yeah.
So what happened? Why didn't he just pray so you can die?
I hate to say it, but I don't think that righteous people can be killed just like that.
I'm sorry, but die by fire prayers are the highest form of adultery and fornication a human being can even practice. Let me just tell you,
maybe
Jesus is now your higher killer.
Maybe you call it idolatry, but listen, I have had to deal with a lot of GOs, and it's not because I hate the church. But I see sometimes they have excesses the same way government officials have. Like a GO also slapped a young girl in church.
Yeah, we saw that video. We all saw it.
And nobody would touch the video. I put it out. And my conviction at that time was that, how dare you slap this young girl, accusing her of being a witch.
Yeah.
But you won't do that in an American church. You have an American branch of your church. If you did it there, you are not getting out of that place on your own terms. You have to live in handcuffs. Yeah. So you know where to, but you won't even do it to your children. And based on the reporting and the way we dragged it on, of course, they came on our page that will die in a matter of days and things like that. But that got a lawyer sufficiently angry enough and emboldened enough to sue.
Wow.
Yes, yeah, they sued him in court. And eventually, initially didn't want to go to court. But when they saw that the public was outraged, they went to court, and I heard that they resettled the young lady. They gave her a position in the church and made her disappear into the hierarchy of the church.
The witch.
Yes, this witch now was
She has been absorbed
rehabilitated
into the church.
so that she will not present herself. She will not present herself as a witness in the case. And for me, it's a restoration of the dignity of even members of churches, that they are not subject to abuse in their place of worship, because they have a right to worship freely and not be abused by religious leaders. I'm not, I read the Bible twice too. So probably I know the Bible a little bit more than you do. And I came to a number of conclusions. But this race is not about my conclusion about religion or churches. It's about my conviction in humanity. That's why I'm here. And that's the issue we should be discussing. That this should be about Christians, Muslims, animals, anybody.
African traditionalists.
No matter what you believe in, even if you believe in a pen, the state has the right to protect you.
Wonderful. Talking about marginalization, talking about beliefs, talking about abuse, there is no way women will not come up. And we also spoke of a woman who was slapped by a GO. And now, in government, Nigerian women feel incredibly marginalized.
Yes.
I want to put it to you. How much, what's the percentage of your cabinet are you going to assign to women? Is it going to be 50-50? Some countries right now have a 50-50 man, woman, just to go across the genders. And what are your policy plans to better the lives of Nigerian women? Because whether you like it or not, in this part of the world, women are still being abused in marriage, in religion, by tradition and culture, government included.
To start with the percentages, I will start with 50-50. I've been saying I want a 50-50 leadership of the government, where women and men will have equal position in the cabinet when we come in next year. But let me also say that women need to come out of hiding. Yes. The reason is this. If you look at the population of this country, there are more women than men. To the extent that if all the women in Nigeria decide that they want to vote for a female president,
should win
the
in
person
a
will
landslide.
win the election in
a landslide.
And there's no INEC that can tamper with the results. But there's still a lot of unwillingness by women to free themselves, because our culture, our tradition, religion is we're hiding them in every corner we can find, and then we are shaming them when they want to liberate themselves by calling them all kinds of names. They're feminists, she's this, she's that. And until women realize that they have power and start to exercise that power, such that we don't even discuss them in percentages, we discuss them in terms of respect of their power, political power and influence, then nobody will even be talking on radio that I want to give 50%, because now the president will be a female, because they have a larger number, and he'll be deciding what percentages of
to give to men.
And that's what I think they need to quickly realize, that you have your PVC, go out and vote for the candidate of your choice, and whomever you vote for in large numbers, unite, and I hope they vote for me in this next election, because I'm the one who is giving Philip to that desire to include women, right, are in the government completely without looking back. Because women deserve a lot more than they're getting. But it's not about deserving it. It's their fundamental human rights.
That's right.
To be involved in government as much as, or as many as we have men, there should be women.
Now, you were controversial a few weeks ago on a subject you spoke about. And until you spoke about that subject, many people, including me, didn't realize the power in that particular sector. You said you'd like to legalize cannabis or marijuana, and make it an export through which Nigeria can gain foreign exchange and build our depleting foreign reserves. A lot of people were skeptical, and I see it as a consequence of the damage social and religious spheres have done to marijuana. Abroad right now on the New York Stock Exchange, you can actually buy and sell marijuana stock.
Yes.
It's used to treat glaucoma. It's used to treat different types of cancer. So what made you think
it just got legalized in South Africa?
Yes.
It was we see one of the reasons I decided to run for office is not only to promise roads and hospitals alone or schools, is to also elevate conversation. And put our mind to where others are at, because there's a word out there that is swirling around us, and we're not participating in engagement and conversation that is leading other nations to progress and prosperity. And that was why I brought that issue up. It was actually a remark I made when people were talking about traditional medicine. And they were all talking about how do you regulate with traditional medicine. I said the biggest traditional medicine is weed, marijuana, cannabis. Right there in Ekiti, there's a forest from Ondo State all the way to Ekiti and Edo where they grow weed in large numbers. And do you know how much we make from weed? We could be making 1.5 trillion naira. Do you know what they do to it? Every year, these guys just come together at the NDLA. They seize bags and bags of weed and burn it. 1.5 trillion naira is what they destroy. And as if the whole world was listening to me after that became public, Coca-Cola came out and said they have a $4 billion deal with Aurora, a weed growing company, to infuse weed into some of their drinks so that it will calm people down. It will help them deal with anxiety and all those things that we normally deal with, including nausea.
The future of Coke.
Ghana came out and said they want to be exporting weed. South Africa legalized weed that same week. The stock jumped on the
NYSE.
Yes, just because people are talking about. You see, over the years, not only cannabis, but the tree itself, hemp, has so many uses. Apart from being used for medicine,
it's used for hair creams.
It's stronger than cotton. Yes, they use them in making t-shirts. Hemp. You can do research. Google is your friend these days. And I'm saying, before other people get into the game and close the door on us, let us start thinking progressively and ahead. Because what people are hearing about weed that scares them, which you have mentioned, is the THC component, which makes people high. But it's not everybody that gets high on weed. But guess what? Cigarette that is more destructive and damaging. We have a tobacco company here in Ibadan, I think somewhere. Alcohol that destroys more than anything else. We have alcohol flowing into Nigeria left, right, and center.
Is the greatest killer.
So,
starch.
But nobody's regulating those things. If you drink champagne, London gin, everybody is happy around you. And these things are imported. There was even a time it was alleged that Nigeria imports champagne the most of all the countries in Africa. It turned out not to be true. But we do bring in a lot of these things. And do you know the worst thing that can happen to us is when Coca-Cola start infusing weed into their drinks and they start selling it to us. And we are forced to buy it. But then when we want to export our weed, they tell us that our own type of weed is not good for producing Coca-Cola.
Because we're not part of the dream.
We're not part of people who have been drinking progressively and getting in the game. So instead of, what is our budget? 8 trillion naira. That's our budget. You are burning 1.5 trillion naira worth of weed
every year.
That could have provided jobs, revenue, make people...
We even have enough cancer issues to use it for ourselves.
Yes, glaucoma.
And they found out that our brand of weed, cannabis, is the best. But let me shock you, finally, on this weed story. There's the fact that, as a Nigerian, we have a gene in our body that is called the cannabis gene. So,
and this is
real.
I can Google this.
It's called the feel-good gene. And the alias name for the gene is cannabis gene. There's a reason why Nigerians are happy people, even when, no matter how we suffer, we're happy. Because there's a gene in our body that makes us feel good, even in the worst circumstances in life. So if it's already part of your DNA, why worry? That's on the lighter side. But when people need to sleep, it happened before during the colonial era. Our people were brewing ogogoro, and the colonials discovered that their London gin wasn't as good as our ogogoro. And they banned it and wrote it into the law as illicit gin. It's still in our laws today that if you are caught with ogogoro, you're supposed to go to jail. But it was because the guys who brought London dry gin discovered that our own was better. They just criminalized it, demonized it, and started doing business with us. And our policemen were chasing after our people making ogogoro.
But that happens in every sphere.
But that's what is about to happen to weed. Because that's about to happen to cannabis. Because America will patent their own weed, and they will make Coca-Cola purchase only their own. While you are here running after and chasing after your own people who have seen into the future. It's just about, it's in the context of diversification of the economy as well. And within the time I started this, the story started as condemnation. Now everybody's like, wow, there's knowledge here. There's something about what this guy is saying. So
because you spoke about it a week later,
everybody
it was on
you need to
South Africa legalized it.
These are our biggest competitors. I mean, if 180 million people wake up and see the light on a product, you better hurry up and cash out before they come in. And you know how Nigerians are. If this becomes legalized, if it's currently a $60 billion market, it will be a $3 trillion market.
It's a matter of time. Because look at the stocks jumping up and down. I mean, not down, up. And it's been the only stock that was doing well that same week, better than even the tech stocks. Yes.
Okay, Sowore, let me ask you a question, and this is going to put you in the hot seat. One of the biggest ways to embarrass the Nigerian government is terrorism currently. Boko Haram. You could be doing a great job. Boko Haram kidnaps a school of 50 girls, and before you know it, the American First Lady is holding a placard, and that's it. Now, I had a very simple question. You're in power. You've won the election. Boko Haram kidnaps a school of 100 girls under your administration. And then they demand a ransom. Now, this ransom has become a do your damn, don't your damn, because you give them the ransom, they buy more equipment, they get stronger. You don't do the ransom with them, they do their usual vicious evil, you get a bad name. So if Boko Haram does this under your administration, currently there's still the Leah Sheribu girl who was, if they do this, how do you plan to handle terrorism, our new reality in Nigeria? How do you plan to do differently from everyone else?
I covered 2 major abductions under 2 different presidents, right?
Yeah.
And the things that were responsible for those abductions, one was negligence. When the girls were kidnapped in Chibok, it took the president of Nigeria almost 48 hours to convince himself that the abduction was real. By that time, Boko Haram had gone and scattered the girls. In fact, they said it took 2 days for Boko Haram militants to finally find a place to locate them. Americans, the UK, everybody wanted to help track them down and make sure that the thing was nipped in the bud. Jonathan won't do anything about it because he believed, at that time, according to them, they had a conspiracy theory that it was the APC that organized the abductions. Under the Buhari regime, it was the same thing. Boko Haram had gotten used to collecting ransom.
Yes.
And they came and abducted the girls, took the girls away, they were paid ransom. They came and dropped the girls in Dapchi, even had a rally, dropped them up and left. In other countries, you have to use carrot and stick. If I'm president of Nigeria, even if I pay that ransom, the Boko Haram commanders that came to drop the girls will not make it back alive. That's the way it is done in other countries. You can, because I used to talk to a lot of these government officials, and they told me when they were paying the ransom for Chibok girls, Boko Haram negotiators wanted to give all the girls back to Nigeria. The people negotiating on the Nigerian side say, how can you give all the girls at once? We are making money off of this thing.
Wow.
Just keep them small. We reported this on Sahara Reporters and nobody ever refuted it. Because you know who was driving the negotiation of that abduction? It was Dara, the DSS guy who was fired when Buhari traveled this last time.
Yeah.
He was making a killing out of the abduction, you know. So Boko Haram was encouraged. In fact, it was the way they were conducting themselves that emboldened Boko Haram to go to Dapchi to kidnap. I said something yesterday and I'll repeat it here. Nigerian security top officials, they are overdue for a cleanup. They are making a killing out of this. They are the ones prolonging
security
the war.
votes,
They don't want the war to end because the money is there in Yafuya. You know, when Buhari came, they found dollars inside soakeways, under cooking pots, you know, in
cupboards and apartment buildings,
and they had it in water coolers and GP tanks, water tanks, in homes of, you know, former military generals. People were asked to go and buy tanks, you know, armored personnel carrier, you know, went and bought them from Ukraine, where nobody was buying, and put army officials, you know, mid-level officials in there that got killed when Boko Haram started shooting at them. There's nowhere in the world that you fight terrorism with Hilux vans. Nowhere in the world that you expose your, you know, officer corps to that kind of level of insurgency, like in Hilux vans. You know, you are not driving in the city. So the moment you see the strategy being used by them, you know that they are not interested in fighting this one. That's why a serious commander-in-chief has to be a new sheriff in town. Yes.
Reads everybody the riot act.
Yes.
Makes sense.
There was something you said. You spoke about ransoms, and ransoms are always money. And that brought my mind racing to the fact that politics in Nigeria is always about money. Everything is about money. We have a problem, we throw money at it. Tell us how you think we can overcome the challenge. Money politics, the Ekiti, the Ondo, Akure,
the unnecessary respect for money in this country. It's everywhere. You have a bad child, you throw money at it.
You know, so how do you intend to restructure Nigeria with regards to the money politics?
We have started doing it. We came into this game 7 months ago. And at that time, the only currency within our political space was cash, money. And now we have shifted the mental state of our people to start considering ideas as a new currency. And that is why you see that when we speak, people listen.
Yes.
Just as I'm here speaking, they're listening. You know, they're upset at me. You know, they're waiting at the airport. They have me on their watch list. It's too late. I don't give a whatever.
You shouldn't.
Yes, because for us, we have reached that turning point. We are not going back to their Egypt anymore. We have reached the promised land. I mean, we're heading to the promised land now. And the way to do it is also conscientization. We've been doing something on our website, that's Sowore2019.org, and also aacparty.org and .com, whichever way you want to reach it. You can actually compare on our platform how much senators are earning with your salary.
Wow.
There's a calculator there.
Wow.
You know, you can calculate on Sowore2019.org. Go there and say, this is how much I'm earning. And you compare it with what the Nigerian senator is earning. You discover that even when you are earning 200,000 naira per month, it will take you some 13 years, some cases 10 years, to earn what a senator is earning in a month. So those kind of consciousness, because you have to put big data behind so many of these things we are talking about, is making people to reconsider, you know, the role of money in their lives. We tell people in Ekiti, for example, that why don't you divide 5,000 naira by 4 years? And what is it that you got? Because somebody who gave you 5,000 naira on a Saturday during the election is not going to see you in the next 4 years. So is it worth it to sell your vote, to sell your future into oblivion by accepting 5,000 naira from a politician, and then after a week the 5,000 naira is gone because he can't even deal with any of your problems? Why don't you look for a politician who can build roads, who can build schools, who can build you hospitals, politicians that can represent you, that will be there for you when they need you. Someone who can breathe life into your aspirations and your future. And then you see the difference. Because the difference is jobs. The difference is an elevation of your social status. Because the moment you graduate from secondary school, you become a different person. When you succeed in graduating from a university, you become a better person. When you have your master's degree, but most importantly, that will also be backed with jobs. It will be backed with electricity. It will be backed with
quality
good
of
roads.
life.
So quality of life will just jump from, the 5,000 naira handout you used to collect to a life that can take you on vacation when you want it, that can make you see the world, that can make people respect you, that can make you drive the car that you want, even when you can't afford the car price at once. And that can make you build a house that you want, that can make you live in a society that is safe. And sometimes I can even make you decide who you worship and who you don't want to worship.
Makes sense.
Where you worship, and which times, you are forced to do things that otherwise you wouldn't be doing. Those are the essential things that we have brought into the game. And that's why you see that the moment we push an idea out there, they are stealing it.
Yeah, I noticed.
Yes, and converting it to their... I won't be surprised now if APC start talking about exporting cannabis. Because when we pronounced on June 12th, they went and looked for Abiola's family. Oh, yeah, let's change democracy date. So before these crazy guys come and, steal the idea from the thunder from us. When we talked about minimum wage, they are now forced to deal with minimum wage.
I noticed
labor leaders are now going on strike to enforce minimum wage.
I noticed something, Mr. Sowore, and you just brought it up, and it was part of the questions we had planned to ask you today. I found out you're bringing up a lot of 21st century ideals, and then in this your tour you've broken them down. And I always hear either the government or the public or somebody use your idea less than a few days later.
Yes.
The cannabis thing was, all of a sudden, it was everywhere.
Yes.
I've noticed they paid a certain amount of money to NASU. They just cleared off the debts of the Nigerian Airways staff after 15 years.
They actually completed the construction of Kano-Kaduna Road after I went to criticize them in Kano.
Yeah, so I've noticed this. Now I want to ask an important question. The election is done. Unluckily, you didn't win. Let's say the current administration wins, and they say, look, Mr. Sowore, you had an amazing campaign. You raised a lot of fundamental issues. Come and work with us. It happens sometimes. It
happens very often.
I mean, Hillary Clinton did work with Barack Obama, even though he had trashed her in an election prior. If they call you, say, okay, Minister, give you a triplicate appointment, youths, sports and rural infrastructure or whatever, would you take it?
It's like asking if light can emerge from darkness. Where would they get... who can you work with among these guys? None. The kind of ideas... If I wanted a job with government, I would have been getting jobs. I would have been an AGIP, what they call any government in power.
True.
Because we were sufficiently difficult to the extent that under the military, they would have given us any jobs we wanted just to keep us quiet. Even under these democratic, dispensations, if I wanted a job under, say, Yaradua, he would give me a job just to keep me quiet over his illness. If I wanted under Jonathan, who is my kin, because I'm a Joe Apoy from Ondo State. So most people don't know that I'm closer to Jonathan and I could be closer to anybody else who's been in government. Oronto Douglas late was the first person to take me out of Nigeria to a conference in Belgium, and he was his closest right-hand man. And he came to me and said, when I broke the story of Yaradua, I said to the point that he became president, he sent Oronto and the man borrowed to me and said, pack your things, come to Nigeria. You have done wonders. There's nothing else to do. There's no story that could have been better than this. I said, I don't want public position. I don't want to be serving in any regime. I want a country that's working. And the moment I discovered that they don't have the intellectual and physical and even mental capacity to run a country, I go after them. This particular regime, this babacracy that we are run by President Buhari, has no capability to accommodate even 1% of the ideas I have. As I tell people, when they accuse me of smoking cannabis, I don't smoke. But I'm high on ideas. That is why people can relate with what I'm saying. And you can't find accommodation of those kind of ideas within a regime that the president may not even know where he is as we speak. The man is sick. What we know from his regime is that it's just a cannon folder, and the cabal is just hiding behind him to do whatever they want to do because they are not responsible for anything. Look at what happened today. The wife went and reported her ADC to the police for arrest because she found out that he had cheated her out of 2.5 billion naira. What is she
ADC.
selling? And that's supposed to be the wife of Mr. Integrity.
That has no office.
You understand?
There's no office for the first lady.
But your ADC can be collecting on your behalf, monies that if they are keeping inside the room, it will be falling out of the window. And you just found out.
If they are keeping in a compound, we're falling over the fence.
You understand? So this is the kind, and if this thing had come from Sahara reporters before now, most people would have said, maybe is this unbelievable, you made it up. But these are the kind of stories that we have fed people with over the years. The kind of carnal activity that's happening within governance and the dark recesses of power, which is the reason why we cannot go for anything less than the real price. Because what needs to happen is not a compensation for me as a presidential candidate who may or may not have won the election, is a role or a future for the people of Nigeria. And for me, the election is not going to be the end of the contest.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll continue with the remaining leg of the interview, which is just another 5 more minutes. And I think we need to take questions.
Yes.
We're going to go on a break. And when we come back, we're going to take questions. Real quick, in a few seconds, this elections, the Osun elections that were considered inconclusive, what's your take on that?
It's a scam. Honestly, I hate to say this, but the PDP won the election. But the APC and the PDP, this is what PDP would have done when they were in power. In fact, PDP would have declared that they won when they were in power. But APC declaring this election inconclusive is just robbing the PDP guys of their victory. But you know what is sad about it? That you can't find between APC and PDP any candidate that people of Osun could vote for. It's between a dancer and an unknown masquerade. It also saddens me that our quality of choice has been reduced to nothing.
For a state in 180 billion naira debt.
Yes.
I don't get what the fight is all about there.
Someone said in Nigeria we celebrate mediocrity. Do you agree with that statement?
Absolutely. This is the headquarters of mediocres. I mean, mediocre people.
All right, a quick break and we'll be back because we need to open up the phone lines. I would have loved to call it quit, but people are biting me here like we have to ask him a few questions. Put some credit on your phones. The numbers to call are 2710969, 2711969, 2712969, and
your question should be in 2 sentences, please.
You can also tweet at Cool FM Nigeria or drop a comment on my Instagram handle at Daddy Freeze. Okay, so we're gonna take 15 minutes of question and answer. When we come back, please stick around. Stop it.
Okay.
Woo. Guys, how is it going? We're going into Wolfie Abiola, I see you. Bring it. See, you can be a very lazy somebody. When you are recording, you just look away. Follow him. You two can be very lazy.
Daddy Freeze.
I was watching you.
Yes. You want me to play one ad?
Yes, play an ad break. So we come back and we just take questions.
Okay.
About this interview is explosive.
We'll be back now.
I've not even posted it on my YouTube yet. Oh.
Wow.
It's just, No, don't cut it. Leave them. Because if we cut it now, they will now come back and it's now be a hot mess trying to get them back.
5 minutes.
Okay. We're getting it. We're coming back in 5 minutes.
I'm trying to not see.
The same.
Because I don't disturbing us that we should pay the eye. Wait, he doesn't want you to cross. He said I should go. So you're going to share your face.
You want that you showed your face, Abby?
I showed my
Mistake,
face.
actually. Don't want to be seen by nobody. Nobody know me.
So vexed.
No, we just
I'm not
take
paying
it.
attention. I'll be late. What?
Look at them. She has a problem. What to
And
tell
this
me?
my
I'm
rather
not
thing.
following
Eh?
all you.
Baba.
No. As long as I get there by.
And the funny thing is, the day before I saw the interview on the couch, I was talking about this thing. I went to the supermarket to buy something and I saw someone that bought a weed crusher and bought the wrap for the weed. And I'm like, so in the supermarket, we sell the crusher, we sell what they used to wrap the weed, but then the weed is not legal. So you're sending people to do stuff illegally, but you're telling them, okay,
Don't
you
mind
can
that.
do
You know,
it, but it has to be
we're a country
legal.
of pretenders now.
See, basically, you're showing us.
I'm a radio girl now. I'm a radio girl now. You don't expect to be seen. Okay, all those time we thought that you were invisible.
This is me not following that. It is okay. I think it's okay. I was not following you.
How do I do all these things without being inside as a parent? What do you want to give me this way?
Take it back.
So I'm not even playing this song yet.
What's that one?
Is that not? I'm
I
six.
played 6 time check.
Yeah, I'm not to see.
I have played it.
You went first? Oh, I've seen the mark.
They rearrange it.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, that's not wrong.
Excuse me. What do you think?
I didn't say anything.
I hope you didn't say
I
anything.
didn't say anything.
Are you learning to be rude? I hope not.
No.
Okay.
I'm going to sit down and stand
No, oh my leg, I'm going to fall. There's nothing hard with that.
Fine. Oh, no, funny enough, no. I thought I saw you sitting there.
Oh, wait.
Oh, do you guys want to sit?
Let's look at it.
Because there are some extra ones here. Sorry, let me.
Okay.
Be calling.
And people are calling. Maybe they said after the break. I didn't know hearing the advert.
Some people have already called and they refuse to keep calling. Whether the advert is on.
What's happening with Wizkid and Penny? Naomi. Did you know what's happening?
I think it's about that
Baby mama drama.
baby mama. Osags was trending now.
He talked about it.
Anyway, so what's happening?
That Osags to do Tef. He does the most. He's so
I don't
annoying.
even listen to the thing.
He's nasty. His podcast. I mean, I get that you're trying to be a real journalist, but you don't have to. So, do you know what he said about DJ Exclusive?
What is it?
That he said that the Exclusive stylist should be killed or something like that.
Okay, I think it's
I'm like, what the hell?
how? Is that on
Is that
Are you
relevant
serious?
though?
We're going out.
This is. He's still there. Okay, your own is very right. Your own is very right.
Where's Daddy Free?
Yeah.
I'm coming in tonight, so I'll call you when I get in tomorrow.
Where is that girl? Where is Essie? Go and call her for me, Josh. She's not a serious person. Oh yeah, Essie, quickly. You'll be walking like snail. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Daddy Free.
Yes,
Sorry,
yes.
please, when are you round?
We're rounding off now by. We'll push these commercials for like 7 minutes.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's just round off. Everybody's here waiting. They are not. Look at the numbers on social media. Once you bring them back up, they are going up again.
Wow.
They want to hear it. Look at it.
That's
It's
it.
74 already.
That's amazing.
Before we went up, it was like 180 on Instagram alone, and we've not gone on YouTube. All right, let's go. All right, it's 96.9 Cool FM. One of the most beautiful and open interviews we've had for a long time. Presidential aspirant Omoyele Sowore has been with us. How do you pronounce Sowore?
Sowore
Sowore. What does it mean?
is in Yoruba it will be Sowore, meaning
Show turn business
into friendship.
Into
If
friendship.
you're business partners, you become their friend. It's
Yeah.
actually named after a stream in Ijebu area of Ogun State.
Oh.
So I saw them on Facebook recently celebrating the stream, Sowore Day or something like that. So I hope to be there one day to swim.
Do you swim?
Yes,
You're very athletic.
That's right.
I see you work out a lot. You don't have a tummy like
I
mine.
do now because I've been eating too much pounded yam.
Pounded yam. All right. It is 96.9 Cool FM. We're about to open up the elections. I don't want to ask any more questions.
Is this elections or
Sorry, we're
lines?
open up the phone lines. please, guys, I want you to ask the questions. I don't want to ask any more questions, but make your questions. You see, some people don't know how to ask. They'll ask one question, that'll lead to another question, that'll lead to another question, and before you know it, we don't want to do this for more than 10 minutes. So please, the numbers to call on the radio where you could hear his voice and speak to him directly are 2710969, 2711969, 2712969, and 2713969. We've got a call right here. Hello. Yes. Go ahead. Yes, it is.
I'm calling from Germany.
Wow.
All the way from Germany.
Yeah, my name is Samuel Agodia.
All right, Samuel, go ahead with your question. We don't have too much time.
Yeah, my question goes like this: that what is the plan towards our licensing for electricity in Nigeria?
Yes, I have said it, and this will be one of the times I will say it again, that we have to grow rapidly from 7,000 megawatts to 24,000 megawatts of electricity. And one of the things to do is to add renewables to it. We want to grow about 4,500 gigawatts of electricity through solar energy alone. And that can be done within a year or two, going by what we know, because Morocco is growing electricity and selling to France, selling to Malta through solar. And we are here still struggling to even transmit the 7,000 megawatts. They claim that we have. We don't even know, because the infrastructures are dilapidated. I mean, infrastructure for electricity is dilapidated. We don't have transmission lines added for a long time. This can be done, and the way to also do it is to break it down to break down, the national grid into mini grids, so that people can have electricity in smaller places. You do it the right way, we'll have regional electricity companies who can be selling electricity, transmitting, generating, and everybody will be happy within a short time. It has to do with regulation as well, or deregulation of the electricity sector. But it needs leadership, it needs innovation, it needs fresh ideas. And that's what we are going to do very quickly. But if you want to find out more, you can go on our website, Sowore2019.org. We have broken it down how this will be done and how we plan to pay for it.
All right, take more questions. The way the lines are ringing today is scary. The next one. Yes. Hello? Yes, good evening.
I'd like to know what the plans are in terms of our military, having to do with the Air Force, the Army, and also the Navy. If he becomes president, I feel that those guys might not be comfortable with him being there. And what is actually his plan to ensure that he actually has control over the armed forces.
Yeah, I've said it before, and I'll repeat it here today. I'm not after anybody. I want an effective, strong, and solid military for the country. And it means that people who are not efficient, people who are not doing their work, have to leave way for people who have been trained over these years and who know what to do. We have in the Nigerian Army only 5,000 officers that are running an army of about 300,000 members. Because the big generals are there in Abuja, they don't even know what's going on the field, and they don't want to promote people, because the moment they promote the younger ones, they'll be eased out of the way, because the younger ones are actually more technologically inclined, they're savvy, but they don't let them control things. Instead, they put them in rickety cars, or fake, armored personnel carriers, and these guys get killed. We are losing more soldiers, we are losing more forces, security forces to terrorists, kidnappers, and general criminals now than we have ever done before, because of the kind of poor equipment that are given to them. So I'm not going to lie to anybody that when I come in there will be a shake-up in the military, but I'm not the first one who's going to come in and shake up the military, but I'm just going to shake it up in a way that it will become effective and efficient. Obasanjo did it. Even when Buhari came, he fired and even took to court a number of military generals who were involved in corruption, but then they're protecting their own, because you remember when they brought out the reports in the army, in the Navy, they acted upon it. When they brought the one in the Air Force, they acted. When it reached the Army, because a lot of their guys were involved, Buratai, for example, and even Dambazo were involved, they killed that report. Today, you can never see that report. That's how Buhari operates, and we will not operate like that.
All right, a few more questions. I think we're going to take just one more. Yes, hello? All right, Saheed, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, I met a gentleman, I think, at the airport, Accra, on the 14th of last month, if you remember, with the Daily Trust man.
Oh, wow. How are you?
Good day, sir. How
Thank
are
you
sir?
so much. Yeah, nice talking to you.
I must confess, I'm very, very impressed. But my question is this. I don't know why this politicians, this leaders, don't even have conscience at all. If you go through, I'm worried about the road now.
Yes.
From Badagry to Maltu.
Yes.
They can't go to the international road and this to other countries. It's a shame. You can't go through this road for 6 hours.
I traveled the road last month, so I know what you're talking about. There's look, our leaders are committing crime against humanity at every level. Infrastructure, security, power, education, health is a crime. This country is crime scene when it comes to leadership, and we have to end it. And that's what I'm promising all of you who are watching, those of you who are listening to me, that you don't have to be like this. You don't have to continue to accept mediocres as your leader or people who want to drag Nigeria with them to their grave. There's nothing wrong with being old, but there are a lot of irresponsible old people. When you can no longer function as a leader in a country, you let go of power. But in this case, they don't want to let go of power because power is the only way they breathe. Power in this country is the social security department of the lazy leaders. When I was talking about mediocre people there, I wanted to correct it. I'm talking about mediocre leaders. People are actually not mediocre people, but the leaders, very mediocre. They don't have ideas. They don't know what to do. They are only there repeating the same old mistakes that put Nigeria in the condition that it is today. And we cannot continue to make do with recycling of these leaders. Get rid of them next year with your PVC. This me that's talking to you. I mean, citizens of Nigeria have been around for 30 years now that I've been doing this. And I said to myself, I'm tired of this. And I decided I'm coming back home. I stayed in America for 19 years. I never one day applied to be an American citizen because I love the burden of being a Nigerian, so that one day I'll be reminded of the need to go and save my country. What is America for us and those of us who are in Europe, and Asia, and in Australia? It's indentured servitude. If you don't think about it, you walked into slavery. No matter how great it looks, it cannot be like your country. And what is driving our campaign today are those Nigerians who have acquired knowledge, skills, exposure, education, who want to come back home, but they have no country to come back to because there's not even an airport in Nigeria that you can call an airport. Ghana just opened an airport recently. Everybody is going there taking selfies and putting it on Instagram. And I'm saying to myself, why are people not outraged enough to say, well, if Ghana can do it, we can do it.
Why can't we?
Yes. And what we need is organic outrage. And that's what this is about. It's not just about an election. It's a consciousness that can make us become so outraged that we say, never again shall we continue to be led by this crop of people.
Wow, it's been an explosive hour or so. But I must say, I really appreciate this. I want to see young people. I want to see us. I want to see us have a future. And it's a wonderful opportunity to have someone who also shares that drive and that passion. Now, for anyone who feels that they have something to say about this from all the sectors he mentioned, please be rest assured that our doors are open in Cool FM. You want to come and say what you want to say, come along with your facts. Yes, it's open. I'm going to be doing this for the next 1 year, running down all the way through the elections. So I want to keep my doors open to heads of parastatals, aspirants, but you have to come and be open like he was.
Yes.
We need people who are open. We don't need people to hide anything from us. Let's discuss. God bless you all. Do have yourselves a very, very lovely day. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for calling us on The Road Show. All right, let's round off for... I know you're tired. Everybody, that's Omoyele Sowore.
Thank you so much for watching and listening to
On the radio, I have to be a bit more balanced, but this is my own radio.
A little bit more nuanced.
But this is my own radio. I can say whatever it is. There's no, yeah. Please, me personally, do I like the way Nigeria is run now? No. Do I want any old people to come back again? No.
Never.
My anger, I'm a Bible teacher. I see the abuse that is being perpetrated with the word of God that I understand. I have a deep understanding of. And I see the absolute abuse. And our leaders are doing nothing but actually conniving with the leaders of the church to enslave the people further. And anything and anyone. That is, I'm sorry, but that's why I don't like Fela Durotoye. He's a great guy. He's a nice guy. I know you want to work with him, but you see, I don't like someone that cannot say it is red.
When it
is red. I want you to be able to say it because I'm that kind of person.
Yes, and that's the way it should be.
Do you understand? So when you come and you sit on the side fence and we don't listen. I don't want a younger version of what we have now.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, the fence fell a long time ago.
The table has broken.
Yes.
We have shaken the table till the fact that it had no legs now broke.
Yes.
Please, your vote is your power. I'm not saying vote Sowore. I'm saying vote your conscience.
Right here.
Ask questions. I sat down today. You know me, I talk. I sat down, I listened, and I learned. It's been a long time since I sat down with someone who is looking for political power that educates me. At the end of the day, I end up educating them. Because they come and they talk plenty. You know, at the end of the day, it's the agenda that they are pushing. I can see beyond any agenda. I can see a lot of truth. I can see a lot of love for this country. Me that I'm talking, I have Romanian citizenship. I will have done anything to get American citizenship. Anything in the world. Only for me to realize that there's someone who could have gotten it but didn't. Because he wants to continue sharing in the cross we are all carrying. You guys made me do this. You are always shouting, Sowore. I want Sowore. I want Sowore. Yes. He is here now.
Yes.
You know what to do.
Back.
He's coming. You know this one is. We have not even. This is just. We just gisted.
Yes. Because this is also to serve a notice to those who might come with, sub facts. That I'll be back with bigger facts.
Bigger facts.
So, but the most important thing is it's very important for our people, I really appreciate this. I'm continuing to see a trend. I'm continuing to see a trend, even on social media, of pivoting away from the ignorance that has been dominating our discourse. People are asking questions. I saw that with you too when you started. It's like what Arthur Chopin has said about the truth. He said truth goes through 3 stages. First, it must be ridiculed. Second, it must be violently opposed. And on the third leg, it will become self-evident. That's the power of truth.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much, everyone, for listening. I run a democracy. You wanted him, here he is. And he's going to come back.
And I'll see you guys tomorrow in New York. Actually, I'm going to New York for a fundraiser in New York, and in Indianapolis and New York, and I'll be back in Nigeria soon again. And we just have to take our country back. Take it back. By the way, you were talking about these ideas percolating to the top.
Yes.
Obama was campaigning on Take It Back in California the other day. We brought Take It Back. We didn't start it, I won't lie to you. But it was here that it has been for a while. And now in California, about 8 candidates are campaigning on the basis of Take It Back. They want to take America back too.
Yeah, so look at your people. They want you to come to Oslo.
Oslo, yes. I don't know if we're going to Oslo, but just tell them if they plan it, we'll come. We have stamina, plenty of energy. Pounded Yam is not slowing them down. So. All right, guys. The full video is available on YouTube, youtube.com/Daddy Freeze Teaches. They've got to run. I got to take picture with Daddy Freeze.
Yes, so.